It's simple for
This is simple.
program on therapeutic fiber was
Head to Broadway by way of
Football, boxing,
the whole project will collapse.
Now to our reporter in the field, Summer Gleason. What have you got for us, Summer?
Thanks, Chris. We've got a lot to consider here at Wayne Tower this afternoon. Today, on the 15th anniversary of the tragic shooting of Thomas and Martha Wayne, Gotham's prodigal son has returned to Gotham for the first time in years. The business sector has been frantic with speculation at how this will shake up the status quo within the Gotham elite. Will this reclusive billionaire attempt to dethrone the Wayne Industries' current CEO? This reporter is going to stay very close to this developing story. And now, back to Luke Wiles for sport.
This case should never have come to trial. The state has not produced one iota of medical evidence.
It's a foggy morning as a plane rolls in at the Gotham airstrip. A cold and dark morning as you return to Gotham. As you step out of the private jet, you see a familiar figure waiting at the airstrip. Alfred, your family's long-time faithful butler. The older gentleman smiles as he sees you for the first time in years. A smile as warm as the day you left. Welcome home, Master Bruce.
Bruce smiles back, but it's a very soft smile. He looks tired. He's well dressed in kind of a dark gray suit with an overcoat as well. Sunglasses, even though it's pretty early morning, there's not too much sun. And he makes his way down. Alfred, it's good to see you.
As it is good to see you too, my boy.
I had the whole thing. I wanted to say, wrote it down. Thank you and apologize, but
You have nothing to apologize for.
thanks, Alfred.
But come, let's return home. I imagine it's been a long trip away. Wherever it was you've been. Narnia, perhaps?
I was actually thinking a little bit more of Wonderland, personally.
Ah. Well, at least it's good to hear you've been doing some reading.
Everything that you sent me and recommended me, yeah. Good picks. I'm very grateful for it.
I'm glad. You know, it's one of the lost arts as these days roll by. Not many people appreciate the classics.
Yes. I have to admit, a few times while I was studying, I had access to very fine library collections, but I still miss Father's. I'd like to take a look back through it at some point, now that I'm back.
Of course. I'm sure we will be able to have plenty of time.
Bruce kind of nods, and he seems like he's willing to talk more, but he's not going to push the conversation further.
With that, Alfred would acquire your baggage, taking it with you as you arrive outside the airstrip towards the airport proper. As he would arrive at a black car that he had for you, loading your luggage in the back and opening the door for you to enter.
Bruce steps in, makes himself as comfortable as he can. He would have liked to help Alfred, but he knows that Alfred is old school and really likes, to maintain the the social grace of how things are supposed to be with that kind of relationship. So he lets Alfred do the hard stuff.
Exactly. He's a professional.
Exactly, exactly.
So with that, as you are ushered into the car, sitting among the fine heated seats and faux leather interior, it's quite odd to be in such a nice place after such a long journey. Even as the drive begins, as you find yourself traveling through Burnsley, your eyes cannot help but stare across the Gotham River towards the islands of Old Gotham and Somerset. In this moment, you are reminded that today is an anniversary, and a dark one at that. However, even in those moments as it passes through your mind, you find yourself staring towards the large estate at the very end of the mainland of Gotham.
Bruce takes a real deep breath. He's done some pretty challenging stuff since he's been gone, and yet crossing those first gates onto the massive estate, his whole body clenches up. It's actually kind of brutal.
A brief moment of air as you pass through the large iron gates. Though in the time you have gone, most of it has been replaced with machinery, allowing it to open on its own. It is no less intimidating to see the large iron wrought itself bending across as the car enters. The estate itself is green. A large amount of greenery at least. Though even in these current Gotham morning, it is surprisingly grey. Whether or not it's the tinted windows, or your own outlook, or simply the reality that befalls you, well, perhaps that is for you to discover and ponder.
There was a time when there was more color here, but if it's still there, I can't see it.
Indeed. As you find yourself rolling closer to the estate itself proper, you can see what looks to be another older-looking gentleman currently working away to maintain a large hedge in the shape of a horse. As the man sees the car go by, he smiles and waves briefly.
Bruce waves too, but then he remembers that the windows are tinted, so it doesn't have much effect.
In either case, the old groundskeeper of Wayne Manor, Harold Ferris, continues to smile and wave as you go past, before returning to his work. The duties that are assigned to him keep the estate. It is after a few moments you find yourself arriving at the large Gothic structure that was once your home so long ago. It seems to almost tower over you as you are ushered out of the car, and you find yourself staring up at it.
Thanks, Alfred. It looks exactly like I remember. It just feels kind of distant still.
Yes, well, you've been away for quite some time. I hope that in time, and quickly I do hope, you'll begin to see this as a home once again.
Right. Of course. Thank you. How is the staff? I know you mentioned that you downsized quite a bit from my father's time.
Yes, well, there hasn't been as much of a need to upkeep as much, as the house itself is not in use. And mostly we just spend our time dusting and reading.
Well, whatever passes the time, I suppose. Are you still living on the grounds?
Yes, I've been for quite some time.
Good. That's good. I should like to meet the new staff, if there is any new staff. I saw Harold.
Yes, I'm sure Harold would love to have a conversation with you in time. And I can, of course, gather the rest of the staff for you to meet.
I would like that. Thank you.
With that, he leads you inside, opening the large doors.
Whew. It's a lot. I think with Bruce's memory, the first thing that hits him is how similar it smells. The wood, the varnish, the cleaner that, Alfred uses, it's all still the same. And the scent is one of the most powerful senses that's connected to memory, and it's quite overwhelming immediately.
Indeed. With that, you are welcomed into the main area, place with the large staircases that lead up to higher rooms. A large, open... Forget the word for it. You know what I mean.
Foyer?
Foyer, that's the word.
Gotcha. It's that perfect memory.
Yeah. Perfect memory. A large foyer. And as you had said, it's the smells that hit you. A reminder that this place has almost been preserved since the time you were gone. As if it hadn't changed one bit.
Bruce makes a noise like he wants to speak, but then changes his mind last minute.
That
He kind of waits to see how Alfred reacts to that as well.
Alfred takes a few moments before he would turn to Bruce and go, "Well, I shall take the liberty of preparing you some tea. I'm sure it might be some enjoyable after your long journey. If you would like, might be able to see what's around in your father's study and library."
Right. Yes, I would like that, Alfred. I think I'll give myself a tour. The introspection might be nice. But tea would be lovely. I'm a little jet-lagged, as it is.
I think I have the perfect thing then. Be back in a moment.
Thank you, Alfred. And even though he had intended to wait for Alfred, I don't think he can restrain himself. Immediately he starts walking down the familiar halls on the way to his father's study. It's the one place that he told himself he did not want to go, and yet now that he's here, he cannot help himself. And as he pushes through the doors, the first thing he looks for is the painting that's above the fireplace.
It sits there above the cold fireplace. A painting of the past. Or perhaps a window into something that once was. And that may never be again.
Hello, Father. Mother. I'm back. I'm not running anymore. I know what I need to do. I just hope that... I hope you can understand why I need to do it.
Even though not expecting an answer, I imagine it still hurts to hear silence in return.
Yeah.
A moment of quiet before you hear the creaking of a door behind you.
Bruce turns slightly to check the door.
As you do, you see a unknown figure appear. That of a younger woman in a simple maid-looking dress, dark skirt, a dark shirt. As she seems to push her way into the room with what looks to be a feather duster in her hand, as in a quick, shocked expression as she sees you.
Oh, sorry, just walking the grounds, getting myself acquainted with... Sorry, I'm Bruce.
Master Wayne, it's a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were in here.
No, it's it's all right. I was supposed to be waiting for Alfred in the foyer, but I suppose my legs had minds of their own. Bruce is fine, by the way.
Oh, of course, Master Wayne. Bruce. It's a pleasure to meet you. Where are my manners? Beatrice.
Beatrice, nice to meet you. I suppose you're on the staff that Alfred hired after I went on my sabbatical?
Yes. I am here, helping to maintain the interior and, the duties of a maid. Which I will continue to do as you are here. So if you need anything, feel free to ask, and I will, do what I can.
Well, I know that Alfred is an exacting master, so I imagine that you've already had to prove yourself and have done very well if you're still on staff. You've got no reason to be afraid of, afraid of my judgment. If Alfred trusts you, I'm sure you're very good at your job.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah. If you do see Alfred, would you tell him that I found my way here? I'm sure he's already figured it out, but just in case.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll do that right away, Master Wayne. With that, she quickly goes to duck out of the room.
He smiles a little bit and decides, is the fireplace lit right now?
No, it's hasn't been lit for a while.
Wow.
There is firewood in there.
Well, then it looks like I'm going to do that then. And I think Bruce, hovers over it for a second. Am I really gonna do this right now? But something pushes him to, and he lights the fireplace and just feels the warmth from it for a little bit.
The coldness that was once in this room has quickly been replaced by warmth. A reminder of better times when this room was more in use. It also serves to light the darker parts of the room. A large bookshelf, many are old books. Though they are not dusty, nor filled with cobwebs, they are well maintained and kept.
Bruce is just gonna drag his fingers across the spines really quick. A nice... It's more about the tactile sensation than he's looking for anything specific.
There are many different books here. Some old medical journals. Others old books of different genres. Some of history. And some of fiction. Even surprisingly enough, as you go through to the end, a few old comic books your father had bought for you in your youth.
I forgot he kept these in here. Bruce's finger is gonna rest on them. It's kind of an unexpected sensation when he's dragging across the leather bound. And he pulls out the old comic books. I imagine JSA stuff?
Certainly. And probably one that's what's the name of it?
Grey Ghost?
The Grey Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
A classic from your youth.
The only one of those heroes that's entirely fictional, too.
Indeed.
Interesting. Yeah, Bruce is just gonna flip through them real fast. It's a weird moment of he hasn't really been able to get out of his head once in the last 10-ish years. So seeing these books here, these comic books, and flipping through them, it just puts him somewhere else for a moment, and I think that's a really bizarre feeling for him.
A moment of being almost like an out-of-body experience in a way. Being somewhere else, being not as present as you once were, as you usually are. It's a nice feeling. It's almost freeing. Or eventually you find yourself interrupted by a swift knock at the door.
He tucks them under his shoulder and turns around and goes, sorry, come in.
For that you see Alfred making his way into the room, holding a large tray with a large teapot, a set of cups, and what looks to be a small plate of some old biscuits.
Thank you, Alfred. I forgot that he had these in here. And he holds up the comic books slightly and...
Ah, yes. I remember your father kept them. It's almost of a pride and joy. Though, to be honest, I don't think he as much cared for them.
He had a good sense of humor about him. I forget that sometimes. I remember once, a while ago, not too long before they died, he set up a sort of fort in here. I wasn't allowed in here often, not when he wasn't here, but he set up this extravagant castle built out of cardboard and sheets. And he let me raid it for lost treasure. Found some of the old Wildcat comics, the Sandman, the Black Canary, and I just spent all day under there with him. He was so patient with me.
Yes. Your father was a good man. As well, would remind you it was not just his humor that led him to keep those old comic books. He did so because of you.
Of course.
Your father and your mother loved you very much. I hope you have not forgotten that in your time away.
No, Alfred. That's the one thing that doesn't fade.
I'm glad.
He points to the portrait of them without, looking at it himself, and he goes, "Would you believe that I had started to forget some of the details of their faces? It was something I struggled with for a couple of years. Little things. The shape was there, but how much gray was in his mustache, and how her laugh lines looked on her when she smiled. It's good to see them again, I think."
I'm glad. Though I think it is also important to not obsess over the small details. Good to remember the things that are important, but, well, there is much you have to look forward to, Bruce. You're still a young man.
Bruce remembers every last pin and screw and scratch in the handgun as it fires. He remembers the make and the model and the sound of the empty bullet shells hitting the alley floor. He remembers the smoke and how it drifted up after each shot, even in the rain. And he does not forget that. Yes, of course. Now, I know it's my first day back, but I assume I do have an agenda still.
Yes. Well, I had done my best to help clear it as much as possible. Allow you to, get used to being back. However, there was one thing that I was simply unable to remove. A meeting with, Mr. March.
The new CEO, right?
The very same. He, made it very clear that he wished to speak with you as soon as you had arrived. I managed to talk him back to, about an hour from now.
All right. Well, I suppose then I should be a little bit early. Then makes a good impression. How is he, Alfred? Have you had an opportunity to speak with him much?
Bits and pieces, mostly over the phone. He seems a fine fit for the business side of things.
Bruce will remember Alfred's specific word choice there. I see. Okay. Well, then, I suppose I should probably shower and get changed. I don't necessarily want to go and show up to see him in these rags.
Indeed. We do have a suit prepared for you. A few
Perfect.
different colors. You can pick out which one you would like.
Thank you, Alfred. I think I'll take black today.
With that, there's kind of a moment in his eyes as he seemingly puts two and two together and goes, "Ah, of course. I shall have it prepared right away."
It's time to shower.
Yep.
I have nothing to input for shower time.
Now it's time.
He's got a lot of scars even still. I guess
Mm.
I'll mention that. He's got some scars.
It's also a time to reflect. Just to be alone and with your thoughts once more. However, eventually, find yourself clean, or perhaps cleaner.
Clean.
With that, you exit the shower and find that clothes have been prepared for you and laid out, probably on your bed,
Mm.
and you are given time to change. As well, laid out next to the bed as well on a small pillow, is a familiar set of suit cuffs or cufflinks.
Ah, the cufflinks. No.
Each with a W on them. You would recognize them as belonging to your father.
Bruce picks them up and sets them down on his dresser and forgets, quote unquote, to grab them again before he leaves.
All right. Is with that, as you do leave and make your way down to the foyer again, you can see that there is an assembled staff before you, as Alfred stands at the very edge. By staff, I mean 2 people. As you see, standing there, seemingly at attention, the groundskeeper, Harold, and the newly hired maid, Beatrice, that you had met. At this time, you can see Alfred smile as you arrive and goes, Master Wayne, introducing the estate staff, as he gestures to 2 people.
Downsizing it is. All right. I'm already acquainted with Harold Ferris. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you, son. You seem to be doing well.
Well enough, Harold. Thank you. You've done a wonderful job keeping the grounds as beautiful as I remember.
I do what I can. Coming harder and harder in my older age, but I'll be honest, I get a little joy out of it.
Well, you just keep me or Alfred informed if you should want us to bring on some assistant staff for you, but until then, you are king of the castle.
And a mighty king I shall be.
And then, of course, I've recently been acquainted with Miss Beatrice.
Yes, once again, a pleasure to meet you again, Master Bruce.
It's my pleasure, Beatrice. And he holds out a hand for her to shake.
He kind of stares at it for a few seconds before something kind of kicks in the back of her mind. She goes, "Oh, yeah." She takes your hands, shakes it.
Thank you very much, both of you. I imagine I'll be extra busy in the next couple of days as I get reacquainted, so I'll do my best not to add any undue stress onto your lives.
Harold interrupts. Oh, no bother. Trust me, if you ever want to have a chat, I'm just around in the garden.
Perfect, thank you.
Beatrice doesn't say anything. She just nods. Very awkwardly. That Alfred, after a few moments of awkward silence, interrupts it with a... Anyway, Master Bruce, if you would like to head to that meeting early, probably head away as soon as you're ready.
Then, I suppose, let's seize the day.
Of course. That you are once again led out towards the dark-colored car, the tinted windows. The door is open for you.
Bruce sits in, and he's going to really, really try to focus in on seeing the city as we drive through it. We got to get a long way through. And Bruce actually asks Alfred to drive as much through the city as he can.
Of course, Master Bruce.
Thanks,
And
Al.
he does.
All right. How's it looking? How are these streets of Gotham looking? They look good north, but this I imagine the more south I go, the more disappointing it is.
Oh yeah. As much as Gotham has changed, it has also stayed the same. Taller buildings, yes, but also lower lows. Much of old Gotham, as you make your way into it, is certainly decrepit. And even Somerset itself looks like a place that is uncomfortable, to say the least. You can see the people going about their business, but there is a certain unease to the whole situation. You can also see a number of tougher-looking men. People that have large scars on their face or other such parts. Some with what looks to be large tattoos as well. Few men you can even tell just through your extensive training are definitely packing some sort of heat. It's almost like a war zone, though with a thin veneer of civility.
It's bad out there, Al.
Yes, well, he's not got much better since you else left. But the hope is that, well, maybe the GCPD will, start to improve. Perhaps.
I wouldn't count on it. But maybe the city just needs a little bit of a push. Something new. Something to shake up the status quo.
Yes, well, the city certainly needs something. I do hope this is something that, well, I'm sure you'll see after you speak with Mr. March.
All right. Bruce really hones in on one of those guys specifically that while they're at a stoplight or whatever, you know, one of them that's eyeing up the limousine is you know, ooh, who's driving a limousine in Somerset? What? You know, and I think he really just imagines if that man were to try something right now, how would Bruce stop him? And it gets pretty detailed in his mind. You know, the man pulls a gun on Alfred. Bruce steps up, you know, fractures his elbow with one strong kick, and then throws him to the ground in a body slam. And it continues like that, where more of his fellas that were there start to show up, and Bruce just kind of plays through the sequence of events.
It is a long few moments as you play it out in your mind. Every moment, every second. You can almost see as if the guy that's kind of just standing on the street, as if he's looking right through the tinted window at you. As if he can see you, picture you, and you do the same. However, it is in a quick moment. The light, as you had requested, a longer tour around the city. You find yourself passing through sways and sways of similar-looking alleys and roads. There are certain parts of the city that are distinct, yes, but a good chunk of Gotham is kind of monotonous. To that point, you still find your mind wandering searching for a way to keep active at every constant moment. Visualizations begin to shift into memory as you find your mind reeling back to a time not long ago when you were searching for answers and for a mission. You stand on a mountain path. Snow all around you, covered in warm winter clothing. You're prepared for the long storms or snowstorms that are usually found around the mountain this time of year. But you do not let them deter you. You do not let them stop your path. For at the top of this mountain is what you seek. A master that might be able to teach you a lesson and prepare you for your journey ahead.
Bruce tightly clutches his arms. Even with the heavy protective clothing that he's wearing, it's still very, very cold. And as he pushes up the last couple of steps, he really grits his teeth. He's come a long way, and he's not stopping until he reaches that door. He cannot stop until he reaches that door. And as he does, he finally reaches out and bangs on the door 3 times and waits a moment and then bangs another 3 times.
The monastery itself is marked by large pillars. Each carved in it looks to be a large dragon, seemingly inspired of Asian origin, long and twisting like a snake. As you knock on the door another 3 times, you still find no answer.
Come on, Iron Fist, I need you to open this door. Bruce is not dying on this mountain because somebody didn't open a door. He knocks another 3 times.
And there is a moment where the large stone doors crack open slightly.
Hello? May I please come in?
With that, you can feel the doors begin to open more, seemingly bidding you to enter.
Bruce sighs gratefully, as if that door had not opened, he would have broken it down. He steps in and immediately, like if there's any kind of like fire blazers out, he walks over to it and takes off his gloves and tries to warm his hands and goes, "Thank you."
As you do look up to look around for someone that might have been there to let you in, you don't see anyone. Instead, you see at the far end of this area of the temple is a man that's sitting cross-legged. An old man with a long braid down his back of white hair, who just sits there with his eyes closed.
Bruce makes his way over and kind of calls out a little louder than he should. "Are you the master?"
That's as you make your way closer. The man, still with his eyes closed, begins to speak. That depends. What do you think I am master of?
Bruce, this isn't his first trainer. He knows they can be cryptic sometimes, and that you kind of have to play the game with them a little bit. So Bruce kind of shifts his head and goes, "You're the master of Nanda Parbat. This is your temple. You watch over it and you train. I've come to you humbly asking for training myself." And he gets down and bows all the way to the floor. Let's get this over with.
You seek to be trained.
I do.
Is that all?
That one caught him off guard. He, like, lifts his head up from the bow, and he goes, "I don't understand."
No, you do not. You have come all this way. You seek something. What is it you truly seek?
I seek a tool. I need a tool so that I can bring about my justice.
You seek justice.
I need justice.
Answer this then. What is justice?
Justice is retribution.
So your justice is anger, revenge.
Bruce sits up fully this time. He's still on his knees, but there's a very clear, like, he's dropped the formality. I don't see a difference where I'm standing.
Then that is what you seek. Vengeance. Wrath.
I wish to stop those who would hurt others. Is that not justice? Does it matter?
Do you? Or do you simply seek to hurt those who have wronged?
Bruce stands all the way up this time. Very balanced, you know, getting up from his knees. He doesn't need to use his hands or anything to help him up. I need you to understand me. I am dedicated to a path of justice. If it is fueled by vengeance, that shouldn't change anything. I have the skills. I need you to train me. I'll prove myself, whatever you need me to do.
That the master's eyes open. How am I supposed to understand you when you do not understand yourself?
He grips the bridge of his nose with 2 fingers, and I understand myself perfectly. I know what I want, and I know what I need. I've come a very long way, and you have the right to refuse to train me. But I ask you, I beg you to reconsider. I have what it takes. You just need to give me a shot. Let me prove myself.
It is not a matter of skill. It is a matter of understanding.
Then test my heart. Test my mind. What? You have to have some way of finding out. Of seeing the metal inside.
I do not search for metal. I search for something else.
Oh, Bruce is way too cold for this shit today. He runs a hand through his hair, and he can feel the frost in it, and it just gets him angry. Like, he doesn't want to do this anymore. He's already been doing this for so long. If you don't train me, I will find somebody who will. If you think I'm on the wrong path, then perhaps you could set me on the right one. But if I go to the wrong people, if they take advantage of that, wouldn't you end up feeling responsible too?
You misjudge responsibility. Responsibility is one that you owe to yourself, to your identity, to your future.
I know. That's why Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I could train you. There are many lessons I can teach. But the question is whether you are willing to learn. You are a man who holds on to pain. I can see it. The deep scars that run through your soul. They bleed.
I'm dedicating my life to a war I will never win. I know this. But if it saves even one person from my fate, then it will have been worth it. I know that this path ends with me in a shallow grave, and I'm willing to die for that. I believe in that.
It is not about whether you're willing to die. It is a question of what you will sacrifice. And I see in your heart that you would be willing to sacrifice too much.
Then let me prove you wrong. Give me 6 days.
Six days. Fine. I will give you that time. But if in that time you have not proven to me that you are one who can take on my lessons, I will ask you to leave.
If I haven't proven to you in 6 days, I'll leave myself. And he bows again. This time, not the full all the way to the ground, but still a pretty deep bow from a standing position. And he goes, I promise you.
As you do, there is a moment where you can feel a finger on your chin that he lifts you up to look at him in the eye. You didn't even see him get up or move. He was just suddenly in front of you. As he stares you down, you can see into his milky white eyes. Cataracts that have long formed. Yet he seems to see you clearly. You can recognize that. I am not your master. Not yet. If you wish to prove yourself, you must ask yourself a question. Can you move past your scars? You have 6 days. I shall be here. You may stay wherever you would like within the temple.
Thank you. I will see to it that you understand.
If you are so sure. And with that, he returns to his meditation position, closing his eyes once more.
And Bruce does so as well. Instead of taking his bags and finding a place to rest, instead he sits down across from the master and meditates as well on that conversation. He just thinks about it. And specifically, he tries very hard to think about the last thing that he said about moving past your scars.
Find yourself focusing on those words. It's a question I imagine Bruce must battle with. Try and understand.
In the end, I don't think he was able to answer that question for himself. But for those 6 days, he didn't practice any martial arts that weren't standard exercises meant to calm his mind and his body. Across those 6 days, almost all of it was done doing exercises that were meant to strengthen the mind and the spirit that he had already picked up. And almost all of them were spent contemplating that question. And he wrote pretty regularly about his conflicts with that phrase. And by the end of the 6th day, he still did not have an answer, but he did pursue it with his whole heart the entire time that he was there.
I think with that, we can move to the 6th day.
Hell
as
yes.
you arrive before the meditating blind monk, who simply says as you enter into the space, "Have you found an answer?"
No, I haven't.
I see. That is a shame.
He holds for a moment, and he goes, "There is something there, though. Your words had meaning to me. I don't think that myself as I am ready. I still wish to train under you. Not just of your skills, but I would like you to help train my heart as well. I can't promise you that I will end up where you wish me to be. But if you ask me to promise you not to cross a line, I will keep that promise, not just to you, but to myself. I cannot answer the question you asked me, not yet. But I am willing to try.
And I have given you all you will need. You fight. You live with anger in your heart, as if every day is a battle. Attempt to retrieve something that has been lost. As much as your words do speak to me, I cannot train you.
I see.
But do not make these promises to me. Make them to yourself. You are the master of your own soul, your own mind. Only you can decide what you can and cannot do. You are simply not a student that befits my teachings.
Very well. Then I will
Good.
accept. Then I will accept that I am unworthy. And someday, when I am, I will return.
If you think it is a matter of worthiness, then perhaps you have not understood my lesson as well as I thought.
Worthy can come from the heart, not just the body. I will find the meaning you ask.
I cannot define your path. Whether you walk among peace and the light, or your justice and the shadows. It is your path to walk, not mine. But should you ever wish to find that peace, to relinquish yourself from the scars that chain you, I can help. But I sense that is not your desire.
No. Not today.
Then walk your path.
He bows again. Thank you for your time, Master.
Do not thank me for something that simply is. The world is a bunch of actions, karma. Whether you think it is good or bad, it is all the same.
Bruce nods, and he packs his things, and he starts the long trip back down the mountain.
Is with that, find yourself coming back to yourself. Back within the vehicle, the car, you're driving across Gotham. You find those words resonate within you once again.
Move past my scars.
With that, as you return to your senses, after experiencing memories of the past, you finally find yourself coming to as you can feel the vehicle stop. And there's a moment as you look outside the tinted windows. You can see there looks to be a crowd of people around the large building that is known as Wayne Towers. Though through the darkened tint, it's hard to exactly tell what they're here for. However, as soon as the door is opened by Alfred, it suddenly becomes very clear, as you can hear them immediately calling out, "Mr. Wayne! Mr. Wayne! Could we get an interview? Mr. Wayne!" A few other people shouting out questions. "What brings you back to Gotham? Are you planning to stay, or are you planning to head off to another location?"
Well, that didn't take long.
Upon which you can see some of the security of the building kind of wading their way through the people and going, "Please back off. Mr. Wayne is not going to be answering any questions today." See, one of them comes over to you and goes, "Mr. Wayne, we've been expecting your arrival. Please come this way. We'll lead you into the building."
Thank you. I appreciate it.
With that, the security guard helps lead you into the building while the swathes of reporters and photographers and even the mainstream news outlets are all calling for your attention for an answer to a myriad of questions.
Yeah, I don't have time for any of this. I have even less interest. So, as moving through as quickly and as clearly as I can, I don't want to engage with any of these people.
All right. With that, you manage to make your way into the building. The security guard leads you through a checkpoint area, scanning you in, as you don't have a pass of your own. You can also see what looks to be another security guard in the security booth, who just kind of has his legs kicked up over a console, seems to be reading a magazine.
Bruce
Though
will...
this place...
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, by all means, finish.
But though this place is heavily guarded, it does seem that no one's particularly worried that anything is going to happen.
Feels like an entirely different world here. I mean, we drove through some of the worst spots of Gotham, and you can really feel the fear that's present there. And it's so relaxed here. It's like they don't even know.
It's an interesting dichotomy. However, as you are led through the main booth, the security guard that lets you in just says, Mr. March should be here to see you in just a second, so, please, just wait in the lobby.
Sure, I can do that. Bruce, yeah. Bruce does not sit. He just kind of, finds a. I really want to look at the design in here. Has it changed much since when I was a boy? Have they completely redone, father's vibe?
It seems like there has been a renovation in this area, simply in a time to try and make it look more modern. A lot of different people are going past on different businesses. Some wearing what look to be guest pass of some sort, seemingly from other companies or groups that have come for conversations and such. You see a bunch of businessmen in suits and with suitcases and the like. A few of them you recognize from your past as people that have worked for the building, though definitely much older than when you last saw them. There's also a myriad of new workers, as to be expected, since your time away. It just seems like the place is in full swing. Quite busy. Yet also seems like it could be busier. There are many seats and booths and even what looks to be a small coffee shop that's set up in the corner. This place is almost a street to itself. A city within a city.
A lot of jobs come from this building. I wonder just how important it is. When I'm inside it, it feels a lot like this is the nerve center of Gotham, the heart. But I wonder if that will remain true.
And perhaps even then, the heart might not be the right word. Perhaps it is like a brain. Perhaps it thinks itself more important than it actually is. After all, without a heart, a brain cannot act. However, as you are left to ponder these questions, you suddenly find yourself face to face with a person you do not recognize. A blonde-haired woman, her hair kind of tied up in a bun at the moment. As she smiles, looking at you, as if she has met you before, but it is not a face that rings in your mind as she goes, "Oh, you must be, Mr. Wayne."
So they tell me. You aren't, you don't happen to be with the vultures out there, would you?
Oh, no, not at all. I was just here for some business. I was here to speak with Mr. March.
Ah, I see. Well, that's good to hear, at least.
So, what brings you to the building?
Oh, nothing much. I'm just here to see Mr. March.
Oh,
He gives a little smile.
funny that.
Seems to keep a busy schedule.
So I hear. I've been trying to schedule this meeting for over a month, but his people have been less keen.
His people. So you're not with the company then?
No, I'm let's just say an independent source.
Interesting.
Just here to get some news from him on a new report and some new things that are being put into action.
Very interesting. Well, I wish you luck. I can't say I've met the man before, so it's a little difficult for me to give you any particular advice.
I see. You haven't met him.
Well, today's actually my first day
I
back in
guess it's
town.
not surprising. Yes, I'd heard as much. You know, it's quite interesting for a man that seems so secretive. There's quite a lot known about you, especially your comings and goings.
Oh, I wouldn't say I'm particularly secretive. I've just been gone a long time. I like my privacy, don't get me wrong, but it's just a lot for the first day back, I imagine.
I see. I guess that's understandable. But tell me, where have you been? There's been a number of rumors, and I'll be honest, I'm been quite curious.
Oh, I wouldn't take too much stock in rumors. And he kind of like looks around at one of the tasteful art that's hanging up. As I said, I wouldn't say I'm secretive, but I do have my privacy. The official story is that I was studying abroad, is it not?
That seemed to be it, yes.
Well, let's go with the official story then. And he smiles. It's very clearly an awkward
seems to
smile,
smile all the
though.
time.
Yeah, it's very clearly like an awkward smile.
yeah.
It's not very practiced. Like he doesn't do it very often.
If I might say, Bruce, if that's all right. You're not very good with people, are you?
He thinks back to the car trip when he was imagining those muggers attacking, or those thugs attacking him and Alfred and hurting them in return. And he shakes his head. He goes, I hope it's not that obvious.
It's probably more obvious than you would like. You know, if you ever want someone to talk to, get your social skills back in gear, I'm usually around.
All right, I might take you up on that. What was your name again?
Vicky. Vicky, and as she's about to finish, she's suddenly interrupted by someone else who enters the scene. As you hear a voice go, Miss Vale! How is it you've managed to get past my security this time? With that, she turns around and goes, Mr. March! Hi! It's good to see you! With that, as you turn to see the figure, you see a man of dark brown hair, very conventionally handsome looking gentleman in a nice suit with what looks to be a nice pin that kind of sits on the breast that is in the shape of a bird, specifically that of an eagle.
Ah, Mr. March. It's good to see you. No worries, I actually invited Miss Vale in with me.
I see. Well, it is good to see you, Bruce. It's been quite a long time. And, well, Miss Vale, I'm sure you've had a lovely time looking around the area, but, I'm afraid, me and, Bruce here have some business we need to discuss, so, if you could, please see yourself out. That she goes, very well then. Before I do, though, and quickly she, hands, you, what looks to be a small business card. She goes, call me anytime.
Sure thing, Vicky.
That she smiles. Mr. Wayne? Mr. March? That she seems to turn around and quickly go to make her way out. You see, Mr. March, Lincoln has a very bright smile on his face, but it seems to dim slightly as Vicky makes her way out the door. There he goes. Well, seems you've met the local reporter.
Singular? Is she that prominent around here?
Oh, yes. As much as I like, and as much as I prefer my security to keep a bigger eye out, she seems to find her way into places she really shouldn't be.
Wow, that tenacity says a lot.
I guess. Oh, it does. Trust me, if I could hire her to work some of our cases, it'd be quite great, but, she doesn't seem interested.
Yeah, I see. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you, Mr. March. Of course, my reputation
oh, please,
precedes
call me Lincoln.
Lincoln, then.
Trust me, Bruce. Well, we may not have met very often, or really at all, if I recall. Trust me, your family here. You're a Wayne, after all.
Yes, I am. I have to say I wasn't expecting a meeting so soon. I figured the board would be concerned about my interest in retaking a position in my father's company sooner rather than later, but the day I arrived was a bit sooner than I expected.
Oh, yes, I understand that, but don't you worry about the board. Let me worry about that kind of stuff. See, I'm just here to, well, get an idea for you. You know, this company is always a busy place, and we've really moved up in the world since your father's year, or your father's days. And, I really just kind of wanted to show you what we're heading towards.
Well, if nothing else, my curiosity is driving me forward, so by all means, show me what you have to show.
Alright, come on then. I'll show you up the elevator. With that, he makes his way over, and then he kind of stops for a moment and goes, oh, by the way, I'd be careful with Miss Vale. See, in my, experience, those kind of people are all the same. Vultures and the like.
I'll be sure to keep that in mind.
Great! With that, he returns back to his positive self as he leads you over to the elevator.
I have to say, Lincoln, I think that you wouldn't be opposed to the public eye. The CEO, chairmanship of Wayne Enterprises has to be a very public position.
Oh, I love the public eye. It's always great to be out there, them snapping photos at us. But you know, it's not as great when they seem insistent on tearing down the man in charge.
I see.
See, not that much has changed since your father's day, I can tell you that much.
From my memory, I don't believe my father was much in the way of anybody trying to tear them down.
Perhaps that was your experience, but trust me, looking through the records, well, people are always trying to pull down number one. Let's just say that. And your father, he was a great man. Truly, one of the best in all of Gotham.
Yes, he was. I haven't had much time to read up on your position, but how long have you been CEO?
I was pretty much given the position, at about a year after, you left the city.
I see. You're not too much older than me, are you?
No, I believe we're pretty close to the same age. But, well, yes, I am slightly older, of course.
They must have been very impressed with you, Lincoln. I'm sure the company's in good hands.
Oh, trust me, it certainly is. We've certainly made quite, the leaps and bounds. Hell, in current years, I dare say we're really taking on some of the big guns.
Well, I look forward to you telling me more about it. After all, I am interested in taking a closer look at my company.
That's the spirit. I know you're gonna fit in quite well here, kid. Quite well.
He kind of looks out. I assume the elevator's got a little bit of glass or whatever that looks out over the city, because
Oh, yeah.
Wayne's all about that. He kind of looks out over the city and sees the people moving around down there, and he goes, "Quite a view from up here. We still have a ways to go. Is your office up top?"
Oh, yes. I'm sure you'll, recognize the place. It was once your father's office.
Forgive me if I'm presuming too much, but my father had a penthouse somewhere in the building as well, up high. Is that still in use, or has it been left untouched?
Oh, yes. Well, in the memory of, your father and that, and your dear mother, we left those areas untouched. I would take you up there, however, there were some issues. We've had to put some effort into, upkeeping the area and, replacing some things. But don't worry. By the time it's all fixed, it should look exactly the same as it did.
I see. Well, thank you. That's more grace than I would have expected. I appreciate that.
I know I might be the CEO of this company, and it might seem like at times I can be a bit, well, out of touch. But trust me, I still have a beating heart under here.
You're doing a job. I understand that better than most, I think. Though, not that I've had a job before.
I'm sure you'll get used to it, Bruce. Should you wish to, of course.
I think I would, at least some kind of position. Obviously, I wouldn't want to usurp anybody's seat, but if the board has something open, I would like to take an active role in the company. It is more than just my father's legacy, it's my family's.
I couldn't agree more. With that, you eventually reach the top floor. As the doors open, that March takes a step outside, begins making his way down the corridor towards one of the end offices that you recognize to being your father's, or once being your father's. However, before you guys can make it there, a voice calls out from behind. Mr. March, there is something important I need to speak to you about. With that, as you turn around, you see an older-looking gentleman, probably around in his late 40s, dark skin, slightly graying hair. As he makes his way forward, not quite wearing a suit, but definitely wearing decent looking clothing.
He's above business casual.
Exactly, yeah. And with that, Lincoln turns around and goes, "Ah, Mr. Fox. What is it you would like to talk about? You see, I am kind of busy at the moment." As he gestures to you. And with that, Mr. Fox steps forward and goes, "Actually, this is a very important thing, Lincoln. I don't think it can wait."
Sorry, Lucius Fox, right?
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you,
Bruce. You were a friend of my father's, I believe.
Bruce. Wayne. Mr. Wayne! I'm sorry, I didn't recognize you. I'm kind of busy today.
Of course, don't let me interrupt, but it's good to see you, Lucius. I know I was rather small the last time you saw me, but it's nice to see a familiar face.
Yeah, you sure have grown. It's good to see you too, Bruce. He turns back to Lincoln and goes, Lincoln, he kind of leans in, pseudo whispers, but you do manage to hear it as he goes, LexCorp is on line 1. Yeah, you see Lincoln frown and goes, right, I'll handle this. Lucius, why don't you show Bruce around the area? Perhaps there's some things you might be able to explain about the building, and oh, and one more thing, Lucius. Please tell me you've considered our last discussion. And with that, you see Lucius kind of frown slightly as he goes. I'm still thinking it over. I don't know if it's the best direction for the R&D department. And that you hear Lincoln once again go, I think you will find, Lucius, it is a brilliant direction for us all. After all, if we're going to compete with the current markets, we need to expand. Anyway, I'll leave the two of you to it, and I'll be back in a moment. With that, you see Lincoln walk off into his office, closing the door behind him.
Interesting. What was that about?
Oh, he just wants me to, consider some things for the expansion of the R&D department. He's interested on doing some contracts for the military.
I see. And there's a very clear amount of discomfort in Bruce's voice when he says that.
Yes, well, it's good to see you again, Bruce. I guess I show you a little bit around.
I'd like that. Maybe start with something familiar to you. I'd be happy to take a look at the R&D department. I imagine you'll be the most excited about that one as well. I don't necessarily need to see the janitor's closet or the boardroom quite yet.
That's a good point. Yeah, I can show you around the R&D department. At least the things that you would need to sign something for.
I'd like that. How's your family, Lucius? I don't remember super clearly, but I think you had kids, right?
Yes. Lucas. If I remember correctly, he's not that much younger than you. few years. But yes, he also has spent the time recently finding himself. He recently joined the military.
I see. Well, congratulations, and I'm sorry at the same time.
Yes, well, it seemed the path that he wanted to follow, and who am I to get in the way of that? That you do see a little bit of kind of regret in his voice and his eyes. But then he kind of shakes it away. But yes, my family is doing well. With that, you make your way into the R&D department and goes, let me show you around.
I'd like that, thank you.
Working on a bunch of new technologies, mostly around making things easier. We have machines that act as forgers, being able to create simple things like nuts, bolts, gears, anything when it comes with working with iron and steel.
I see.
Been also working on new technology for vehicles, hopefully able to use among first responders.
Urban transport, but
kinda
that's safe and well protected?
Exactly. Something also that's speedy.
Wow, that...
Working on boats, planes, cars.
I see.
Tanks. He kind of says that last one a little bit lower energy.
Yeah, Bruce.
All kinds of vehicles.
Bruce cocks his head and goes, "Tanks?"
Yes. Well, let's just say we're apparently expanding.
I see.
Daddy kind of sighs and goes, you know, I still remember back on your father's day where he had a strict no weapons policy. It seems times have changed, though.
I have to say that's news to me. I'm not sure he'd ever have been comfortable with that. And I get the impression that you're not comfortable with it either.
I've never been one in favor of warfare, nor really that behind the military. But, Mr. March seems to insist that they are lucrative contracts that we are missing out on. Between you and me, I think he's more likely trying to create a footing so that he can compete with LexCorp on this matter.
Ah, I see. I read that Lincoln was pushing for some kind of cooperative deal. I know LexCorp likes to work with other companies, but I can't say I necessarily approve.
Yes, I don't either, but... well, March is head of the board. What he says goes.
I see. You know, Lincoln... no. You know, Lucius... it's gonna be a little while until it happens, but at some point the board's gonna ask me in to sit with them and talk about most likely whether or not I'm going to try to seize the company from Lincoln. I have no intention of doing that at this moment, but I wouldn't mind having a familiar face in there with me. Do you think you would be willing to stomach the board just to give me a little morale, I suppose?
You young man, anything.
Thanks, Lucius. I gotta say, it's been a little
anxiety-inducing being back here. I haven't recognized a single face since I got here until I saw you, so it's nice to have some continuity, I suppose. And I understand that you're not entirely happy with some of the projects that Wayne Industries is working on, but for what it's worth, I'm glad you stayed.
Of course. I mean, this company has been my life for so long. I truly hope to do good while I'm here. And if they want to get me out of the building, they have to drag me out of there kicking and screaming, to be honest.
Well, I'm sure they wouldn't want to do that. I don't think it'd look very good for the cameras.
Oh, definitely not. So I think my position is safe.
Good. That's good. And he kind of like looks around a little bit, like he's uncertain of what else to say, before he looks back towards the greater R&D department. He goes, "Why don't you show me something you're excited about? Something that something that doesn't make you feel like you're doing the wrong thing."
Of course. This is one I'm very proud of, though it's kind of simple, to be honest. With that, he makes his way over to what looks to be just like a large square of fabric. Here he goes. Now this is designed to be, well, what I like to call anything proof. This thing will survive flames, acid, extreme heat, extreme cold, all without losing its
Flexibility.
Yes. It also takes quite a lot to break it.
Interesting.
I'm hoping it'll be able to be used as a super fabric of sorts.
I see. It's certainly impressive. Is this intended for military use or general use, or?
My plan originally was it to be used by firefighters. Something lightweight they can make some other clothing and equipment out of. But I have had a push recently to consider military. For that reason, it is stab-proof.
Well, at the very least, I'd say it could save some lives.
Yes.
I recently read an article about there's a LexCorp subsidiary in Metropolis, Steelworks. They're a division that builds weapons, but they're the guy that runs it. His name's escaping me right now. He works almost entirely on non-lethal applications. Maybe if March is pushing to try to compete with LexCorp, and he kind of trails off there.
That he goes and goes, "Oh, irons, I believe."
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I have been reading up on his recent activity. I do think what he's doing is good for the future.
Certainly,
Yes.
certainly feels admirable to me, at least.
Indeed. Well, yes. I do hope that perhaps Lincoln will reconsider this push. Sadly, my boy, this is something that's a long time been in the pipeline. It's not just Lincoln. It's almost the entire board.
That's a pity. Well, if I do end up getting that board seat, I do still own a considerable amount of Wayne's stock. I think I'm still the majority shareholder. I might be able to carefully push in a direction that's a little more in line with what my father would have wanted. The company is a business, and I understand that aspect to it, but, well, I just think that it's important to maintain a level of honor about it as well. There's only so much money in the world. Doesn't seem right to set the company's pure standard as more.
With that, you just see Lincoln smile. Not Lincoln, Lucius.
I did it once earlier too.
names.
They're both L names. Yeah.
Yeah. See Lucius smile as he goes. You're a good man, Bruce. You remind me a lot of your father.
That's very comforting to hear. Thank you.
No day goes by I don't wish he was still here.
Yes, I agree. It's today, by the way.
Oh. It is, isn't it? I guess with all the news about you coming back to town, that hasn't exactly been on the news focus.
Can I confess something to you, Lucius?
Of course, my boy. Anything.
It's somewhat difficult for me to believe in coincidences. I've seen a lot when I was traveling. And I can't help but consider that Lincoln asking me today, of all days, insisting on it being today, was an intentional choice.
I can't speak to that exactly, but it's certainly possible. I'll be honest, I don't know Lincoln that well, but the board chose him for a reason.
Of course. Well, I am grateful for all that you've shown me around, but admittedly, I haven't forgotten too much of the building's layout, and I know well enough how to read a map. So, how do you feel about playing hooky and getting some lunch?
I'd love to.
Good. Good. I'll probably need your help finding a restaurant, though. That is one area that, well, my memory as a child does not necessarily maintain.
Fair enough. I know a nice place that's not too far away.
Wonderful. Thanks, Lucius. I'm buying, of course.
You better be.
Bruce kind of smiles again. This time it feels a little bit more real than it did with Miss Vale, but yeah, he'll for sure, whatever Lucius wants. Bruce is not accustomed to eating fancy dining, actually. Well prepared meals for sure, but it's been a long time since he ate something proper fancy.
I imagine Lucius would take you to a nice restaurant. Not extremely fancy, but, a good quality and decent service. It's certainly one of the better meals you've had in a long time.
Okay, so dinner's good. It's delicious. I pay.
Yeah, it's great. Unless there's something specific you want to do during that time.
Nope, I'm good.
It's good food.
Good food.
Eventually, you make your way back to Wayne Tower. You make your way back up to the office of Lincoln March. And as you do, you find that it's perfect timing as marches his way out of his office. Marches his way out of the office.
As Bruce as Bruce and Lucius approach, Bruce calls out, "Lincoln, we're just finishing up. Excellent timing."
Bruce. Lucius, wonderful timing indeed. I take it, he gave you a good tour around the area?
Oh, excellent. He does excellent work. I doubt there's anybody you could have assigned better than Lucius in terms of knowing the best way to engage me and show me around.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much for your time, Lucius. And as I said before, please do consider my offer. At that, Lucius nods slightly and goes, yes, I know you're going to keep bothering me about it until I give you one, aren't you? You know me so well. Anyway, Bruce, come on, let's talk.
Give your family my best, Lucius.
Of course, Bruce.
Shall we, Lincoln?
Indeed. And then he turns around and makes his way to his office. As you make your way inside, you can see the familiar large kind of glass wall that is behind his desk that looks over the city. You remember it was still there back in your father's day. The rest of the office seems to have been changed quite a bit. A lot of the older, most of the older paintings that were along the walls have been exchanged for others. All except one, which features the founder of Wayne Enterprises. Your great, how many great-grandfather?
Quite a far way back, yeah.
Yeah.
And Cletus Wayne.
Yes, Cletus Wayne. Cletus. And you see the desk that Lincoln sits behind. A far more modern interpretation than the old Gothic desk your father used to have. And this one has kind of sheen, parts of it made out of steel and stone, opposed to the wooden one that your father had. You can also see in the corner what looks to be a small bar with a number of drinks and glass decanters set up. And you see Lincoln sit behind his large desk, gesturing to a chair in front of it for you to sit.
Bruce does so. He'll have a seat.
So, Bruce, I'm glad to see that you've made it back in one piece. To be honest, we weren't quite sure where you had gone, or if you were returning, but we're glad to see that you have.
I was studying abroad for some time, and after that I felt I needed to find a place where I could get some belonging, or at least some understanding. I didn't find it overseas, but I think I got the pieces that I need to understand that I had to come back. I belong in Gotham, and I feel like I'm ready to accept that now.
Good. That's good to hear. Well, the main thing I did want to discuss was, your future here at the company. I'm sure, as you well know, you have inherited the stocks of your father and your mother. For that reason, there are some at the board that do have their worries that you may have majority control. I can tell you, Bruce, I am not one of them. I know you are a good man at heart, like your father before you, and you would not do anything that might threaten the jeopardy of the company itself.
Of course. It would be unwise for me to try to upset so soon after my arrival. Given my position in the company, I have no intention of steering the ship off course. I simply, humbly, would like to request that I have some position on the board. I would like influence, but you don't need to worry about me doing anything drastic.
I understand this, of course. And for that reason, I think I have the perfect position for you to uphold. I propose that we put to you, under full control, I might add, of the Wayne Foundation.
My...
The
Oh, sorry, go on. Go by all means.
the charitable branch of Wayne Industries.
I see. Well, I've always been a fan of my mother's charity work. I'd be happy to take up after her legacy. I think that's a fine place for me to start.
I thought you would. After all, your mother was a fine woman. Certainly one with a heart for the people.
Yes, certainly.
Yes. Well, I'm glad to see that you are in favor of such a position. I will say that it has been difficult for us to find someone to head the Wayne Foundation for some time now. Complications due to contracts and scheduling and the like. But now that we have you here, well, I think you'll be able to look after the area fantastically.
Of course. I only intend for a passive position, honestly. I don't know too much about business myself. My education was in art history, mostly.
Really? Art history? Certainly interesting.
Well, it was important to me to make sure I really found myself and my roots, I suppose. Still, I'd be happy to help out however I can.
Of course. Well, I mean, that's fantastic. I'll make sure the necessary paperwork are transported to your estate so that you can sign them.
Oh, excellent. I'll have Alfred go through it first thing.
Perfect. Well, I guess the other thing, is there anything you'd like to ask me? After all, you've been away for some time. I suppose it is only my responsibility to make sure you're well updated on the goings-on of the company.
I don't think so. Let me see. That's right. Lucius passively mentioned that you have been looking into weapons contracts with the military.
Oh, yes, well, that's not stuff you need to worry your head over. We're just finding the, opportunity for expansion.
I see. I can't say that I'm 100% comfortable with guns. Dreadful things. I don't really like the idea of, making something that could hurt people. But if you think it's best, I trust your judgment.
I understand that. I had my quarrels to begin with when the board first brought it to me. However, after some time in considering it, don't think of it as destruction and weapons and guns and bombs. Think of it as defending our country, our homeland, as well as being able to enter onto a competitive field with those such as LexCorp. I hope it's, well, I hope you're not going to go around telling people, but, they've certainly become one of our biggest competitor in the current years.
I imagine so. I mean, they got into communications tech right around the time that we were hitting our stride with it, right? And ever since then, they've been competing with us pretty competently, right?
Indeed. However, I think this might just be our year. Although LexCorp has been able to win the military contract for the past couple years, I think we are finally on footing to actually compete with them in that area. My hope is by the end of the year, we will have that government contract all ironed out and sorted.
I see. Well, I definitely like the idea of Wayne being #1 again. And he gives a smile
As do
that's...
I.
Yeah, he gives a smile that's like he's very clearly like a I have no idea what I'm doing smile, you know?
Mm-hmm. Very good, old boy. Very good.
Well, I should probably get going, unless there's anything else you wanted to address with me. I'm sure you could forward whatever else you needed to Alfred.
Yes, of course. There was one thing. I'd ask that you, wait before making a statement, towards, any reporters or news organizations and the such. I was hoping we might be able to set up something more formal, in the coming weeks.
Press conference?
Exactly.
Bruce frowns, and it's a very real frown, not like his act that he's been putting on in here. I can't say I'm the most comfortable with that idea.
Oh, don't worry about it. You won't have to write a word yourself. There are plenty of great script writers and speech writers among the company. We'll be able to get you something nice to start off with.
Okay, sure, just keep me posted about it. As long as I don't feel ambushed, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Oh yes, of course, we'll set up all the dates and make sure it looks, fantastic for us all.
Okay. Well, in that case, I think I'm going to start heading home now. Well, I'm still a little jet-lagged.
Of course. Certainly understandable. But you know what? I think you're gonna fit in perfectly here.
Yes. I imagine I will.
As your mind begins to wander, focusing on the thoughts of the conversation with Lincoln around fitting in, finding a place where you feel at home. You find yourself once again returning to an image of a monastery. Though this time in the summer, up in a similar mountainous region, though the feel is certainly much more eastern than northern. As you do make your way there, you can see the monastery is largely populated with what looks to be a number of students that are about and around, practicing their kata and their techniques. All of them in sync. All of them with strong discipline. And you see what looks to be steps that lead higher into the temple, to an area where you can see a man sits. You find yourself having to walk past all the students. None of them look to you, don't observe you as if you're even there, completely focused in their training.
Bruce finishes wrapping the bindings around his knuckles and practices the form of strength of movement, control and precision in his arms. He lightly stretches and hops back and forth a little bit to balance his weight. And he gets ready for what comes next.
Alright. You can see one of the trainers make their way down the large steps towards you. Their face is obscured by different types of wrappings. This one seems to be completely covered in white. Or you can see a couple of others that bear different colors. With that, they make their way over to you. What brings you here?
I require training.
You seek the training of the master.
Yes.
Then come. Let us see what you are made of.
Bruce, stomps with his front foot forward, and folds his arms around into an arcing position before pulling back into a fighting stance.
The trainer looks upon you, and then does a nod before taking up their own position. It is a stance that even through your extensive training, you have never seen before. With that, they gesture for you to make the first attack.
Bruce does. Do you want me to roll anything? Or want to just handle this narratively?
We'll handle this narratively.
Okay.
Explain your attack.
Bruce winds back and launches himself into a flying kick before turning it into a reverse roundhouse. So he's basically trying to keep up the pressure with a torrent of kicks first. He wants the length, the reach, and the power that it gives him first.
Alright. With your first flying tick, you see that your opponent's first move is to quickly move backward, jumping in a way that actually manages to just move out of the way of your kick before you have to land on the ground. However, then you immediately turn into a roundhouse. As you do, you see that the person effortlessly just dodge out of the way, ducking it as it goes completely over their head. It's in this moment, as you find your back has turned during the roundhouse, you feel a quick punch to your back, enough to knock you out of your spinning kick, as you find yourself collapsing to the ground quickly. You can feel a kind of throbbing pain in your back, much more than probably there should be with the hit of a hit of that size. Feel almost as if your muscles are tensing.
Yeah, Bruce immediately spits up a little bit of blood and saliva with it. It was not expecting that kind of blow already, but it takes him no time to just get back into it. Tries to turn the blow into a counterattack. Range isn't working, so he tries to go for some kind of scissor maneuver, and then get the advantage with using his full weight with his punches.
Alright. As with that, as you begin your assault once again, you can hear the voice of the masked trainer as they go. You do not give up easily. Good. You just might survive the sensei's training. With that, he takes up another stance as you jump at him. the scissor kick, I think.
Yeah.
Or is this? Yep.
Scissor sweep. Whatever.
Scissor sweep, yeah. Comes in upon him. However, once again, he manages to effortlessly dodge out the way as if he can see your moves before you make them. Your next strikes are bold and heavy. However, they just don't seem quite enough to land upon this mysterious, lithe, and quick figure. With that, there is a quick moment as you find yourself taking a swing at them. However, in the moment as you swing your fist out, your arm manages to cross your view to the point where you can no longer see your opponent, and as you pull it back, they're no longer there. And then in a sudden movement, you can feel someone grab your arm from behind you and quickly heft you over their shoulder, slamming you into the ground in a grapple. Very Taekwondo-ish move.
Yeah, Bruce immediately does not take the time to recover. Instead, he tries to go for the really not useful headbutt. Like, just like ferocious, almost feral fighting.
Yeah. You do manage to land it as you headbutt the person. It's in that quick moment they stop the grapple as they take a step back.
Bruce,
you fight like your life is on the line.
Isn't it? And Bruce gets back up and wipes his mouth. And then he takes up a stance and beckons for the other guy to charge him.
With that, there is kind of a huff from your opponent and goes, "You clearly do not understand what you are up against, but I shall show you." With that, they go to take a step forward before suddenly there is a loud voice that cuts through the air. "Stop!" And he holds before turning around. That you can see the man that was sitting cross-legged at the top of the stairs is now standing. A very hard and serious look on his face as he looks down upon you and the other, and your opponent. With that, he looks to the white ninja and goes, "Enough! Let us see if he can prove himself with words." With that, he turns around, walking further up the stairs. With that, the white ninja turns to you and goes, "You have been granted entry by the sensei. He will see if you are truly worthy to learn our lessons."
Bruce just goes and picks up his bag and slings it over his shoulder and follows the guy up the stairs.
As you make your way past the white monk, he puts a hand on your shoulder and then just says, "Try not to get killed."
I'll do my best.
With that, he removes his hand and seemingly returns back to his position of training some of the other students. With that, you are brought up the stairs. Quite a long way. A journey to a high point. Another pink peak once again. As you do eventually reach the top, you can see the older looking man from before. The man who looks ancient compared to you at least. As he sits cross-legged upon a small pillow of some sort. With a small table before him, set up with tea for both you and him. He looks up to you with his sharp, almost dagger-like eyes, piercing into your very soul, as he goes, "You have come a long way, stranger. Tell me, who are you, to think you are worthy to train among me and my students.
3 months ago, someone tried to kill me. It wasn't intentional, but conflict escalated. They were the finest fighter I have ever put myself up against. When it was over, I made him tell me where he trained, and he told me how to get here. I am... He hesitates for a second, and he goes, I am an orphan, and I'm looking for a place where I can find some purpose.
I see. And that is what has brought you to my family. We are no ordinary temple. You do not come here simply to learn a martial art, but a way of life. To learn true strength. Do you think yourself worthy?
Bruce hesitates. Honk! Bruce hesitates. And he eventually kneels down. No. But I can earn it.
Very well. You shall face many a trials in the days to come. Should you prove yourself worthy, you will be able to join our family. You will learn our ways, our style, and perhaps you may prove yourself a warrior of shadow.
I will succeed, or I will die trying. That is the deal I made myself.
Then you certainly have the mindset befitting. Very well then. We shall begin your training. Now. And in this moment you see two figures appear almost out of nowhere. One looks to be a woman covered in dark wrappings. And the other one looks to be a large masculine figure covered in red. They both immediately go to take you on, dashing out from the shadows. What do you do?
Bruce immediately rolls backwards to kind of spring up into a standing position, and whatever the heaviest, longest thing that's near him is, he's literally just going to use his momentum to throw it at them as well. Just buy him a little bit more time to, brace.
Alright. There is a small table in front of you.
Yeah, that's going right at them then.
Alright then. Quickly go to roll back, grabbing the table as you do, using your momentum and weight to flip it at them, as you quickly manage to dodge backwards, giving yourself some distance. You see the big one manage to kind of grab the table that is thrown at him, but the lither female figure just slides underneath it, managing to go under it as you throw it over. As you do manage to go backwards, you eventually land, coming to your feet, However, you find that you're now back towards what looks to be the staircase behind you, realizing there's not much distance behind you, unless you wanted to go down them, which comes with its own difficulties. But you do see the female figure is quickly coming upon you.
Bruce is going to do his best to try to hold her off. Fighting both of them at once is going to be a losing battle, so they had to get in here somehow without him noticing, unless they were here the whole time. So he's going to, as quickly as he can, see if there's a way upward, say rafters or something that he could climb up into.
I would say that you would notice that there are. In fact, specifically, there's a whole bunch of areas you can hide out up above. A number of different poles and positions that are along the roof that can be jumped across. You realize this whole place is like the perfect ambush.
Well, then that's my avenue. I can't beat these two. If either of them are as good as the doorman, I can't beat them in a straight fight, so I'm going to need to use that to my advantage. Yeah, so Bruce will try to hold off the woman, and at the same time, he'll try to do one of those cool, like, wall jump things where he climbs up a wall halfway and then jumps up into the rafters, and he's going to use that to try to stay as mobile as possible. The big guy should have a little bit more issue up there, I think.
Alright. I think with that, they will require a roll.
The roll lowered a couple of my traditional skills because I'd say that this is probably necessary to get the max that he would have. So I would say probably either a coordination in martial arts or coordination in athletics?
I'd say athletics.
Athletics sounds right.
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Damn.
That's the best I could have gotten.
You do manage to scale the wall, jumping off them and eventually reaching up to a point where you can reach the rafters. You grab onto one of like the wooden posts on the roof, pulling yourself up very quickly onto your feet. But as you do see, even quicker, surprisingly, the female figure manages to scale the roof as well, until she's standing opposite you on one of the other pieces of wood that extends from the roof. She seems to look at you with narrowed eye.
Bruce is going to try to keep the other guy in mind, but here's a good opportunity to try to test her abilities. It's necessary. So I think he's going to try to attack this woman now.
Alright. This one will be a prowess martial arts.
Okay, and I'd like to spend a determination point and give myself a +2.
Very well.
I'm going to activate Who Am I? Because Bruce is trying. This is all for that question. That's another max roll.
Damn, you're rolling really damn well.
I am rolling excellent today. I've made 2 rolls as Batman. I think period, and both of them have been both of them have been 6s.
Yup. Now it is with that as you manage to lunge at her, trying to be wary and careful of your footing. She herself manages to take on the defense very quickly as you come at her, but you do manage to land a heavy strike into her gut. You manage to grab onto her arm.
Yeah, Bruce is not going to do any amount of holding back on this. He's an equal opportunity ass whooper, and she would not be fighting him if she wasn't capable of killing him.
It's also at this point you can see she quickly goes to hook her leg around your body in an attempt to get a grapple on you with her legs. Try and get the upper hand.
Okay, here's what I think Bruce will do here. He's going to attempt to purposefully fall off of the beams. The idea that he wants to use is just swing the right level of momentum where he could catch on, but it will throw off her balance. You know, so he won't fall all the way, but she shouldn't. You know, it'll make it much more difficult for her to take advantage of it. You know.
Yeah. I think this will be a coordination athletics. Try and throw her off.
Oh, that's the lowest I could have gotten.
Yeah, I don't think that's high enough for her. As you do attempt to, you find that you have to like break your grapple to quickly try and grab onto something. Which at that moment she just quickly tightens the legs that are wrapped around your body, allowing her to grab on even stronger. And because of that, you're not quite able to grab onto something as you quickly fall to the ground. As she flips over, using your weight against you and making you land onto the ground. And she manages to land on top of you with her legs wrapped around.
I had a weird dream about this one time. Anyway.
It's a lot of lonely nights for dear Brucey.
Yeah, so this is bad for me. So Bruce, I think, is going to try to, like overpower her grapple here. I think he's already studied wrestling at this point, so he's gonna do what he can to try to just reverse this on her. And he needs to do it quick because I haven't seen that other guy in a while, and I'm on the floor again now.
You haven't seen him in a while. So this will be strength wrestling.
Perfect.
And you're attempting to overpower her.
I think it's still technically prowess. I think any kind of melee attack you make is
I'll say
under prowess. Do whatever.
I think in this scenario it would be specifically strength because you're trying to overpower her.
Cool. All right.
If you're trying to do prowess, she's just as good as you are, but she's not as strong.
That's true. I didn't consider that. You're right. That's smart. I'm gonna do that thing.
Could do prowess, it'd be much harder.
It's 11.
Okay. I think that's enough to just be able to overpower her, to like push her off to the side, so she has to unlock her legs around you. At which moment you see, kind of next to you, a small table is smashed to a point where it like almost slams you, but you just managed to move out of the way. As you can see, the big guy is now running at you as well.
All right, I'm gonna take a page out of the Lego stop motion videos here, and I'm gonna try to use her as a shield. I'm gonna wait for it to get to the last moment, and I'm gonna try to angle it so that she ends up taking the blow instead of Bruce.
All right. This one will be a coordination, probably wrestling. So again.
Yeah. 13, slightly higher.
Even better. I think with that you do manage to bring her into the way, and as you do see the other guy hesitate and kind of pull his fist back at the last second. However, he does manage to go crashing into her, and does push you back a little bit as well. As this guy is heavy.
Yeah. I think Bruce is going to release her and get some distance himself. Because now it's going to be a difficult... Like, as much as I'm liking having her out of the fight, I can't maintain that super easily. So he's going to fall back. Were there weapons downstairs?
There's weapons in this area. You would see, like, there would be, like, bow staffs and,
Staff. That sounds really good for fighting two opponents. Yeah,
bunch
Bruce...
of different weapons.
Bruce will lunge for one of the tonfas, and then how much room for maneuvering is here in terms of using that effectively?
Well, tonfa is a small blade, so probably quite a bit.
Cool.
You might have trouble with a larger blade, but in this scenario, probably get a good weapon for it.
I'll take the tonfa. I'll do some tonkin. Bruce will kind of grab... I think if there's two of them, he'll grab two of them, one for each arm, and he'll spin them around into a good position where he could really take advantage of it.
Yep. Yes. Also, I realized I was thinking of a different weapon. But yes, Tonfa fits.
Are you thinking of size?
I was thinking of Tonta.
Tonta?
The small Japanese blade. I forget what it's called.
Size?
No, that's different. That's the three blades.
Oh, Tonto.
Tonto, that's it.
Yeah. I always get that confused with
That's right.
Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Anyway.
she's got a sword name. No, she doesn't.
No, that's. But yes, you have
Alright.
the Tonfas.
Cool. If I have time, then I'm gonna try to press the advantage. I want to try to get in there and get
Alright.
whacking them before they have a chance to recover.
You do see the big guy manage to recover quicker, and he manages to get in the way of the lady, stepping forward to attempt to basically through brute force try and overpower you.
All right, let's see whose will outlast here. I'm gonna try to whack this man, and then
That'll be prowess and weapons.
that's the same as my martial arts, so I'm just gonna roll martial arts anyway because it's the same thing.
Easy.
And then I'm also gonna spend a determination point as well. I'd like to use the same thing to get another 2 to this roll.
All right.
That's a 14.
Yeah, this guy's a big guy, but you just managed to get a head over him as you managed to bring down the Tonfas using, I imagine, a quick fire technique of a number of different strikes. Eventually, you can see as the strikes pile on, they begin to overwhelm the larger red monk.
I'm a thonk the shit out of that man. I want to
Get
I want to
thonked.
whack him.
Yeah. Eventually, though, as you do manage to wail on him, there is a moment where he quickly goes, seems to get a little enraged as he just goes to grab you and attempt to throw you over his shoulder.
Good. I want him angry. I want to specifically hit him in like the same place that I keep hitting him. Like, I want him to, like, I don't want to necessarily cripple him or anything like that. It's just to piss him off, you know?
Yeah. Alright. I think in that case, this would be... Yeah, I'd probably say the same rules before.
Yeah, it's typically it's like, hey, if you're attacking somebody, it's gonna be prowess, you know?
Yeah.
That's the max I could have gotten, 14.
Damn. Yep. With that, it's a number of different strikes into him. But he does manage to grab you and throw you over his shoulder, putting a little distance between you and him. But you can see that he's quickly grabbing the spot where you've landed a number of hits.
Good. So I'm on the other side of him. Where's she?
As you look around, she's gone.
All right. Well, that's a bummer. I think Bruce is gonna try to press the advantage. Whether that's a tactical misstep or not, he's in the fight right now, and he needs to put one of these targets down. So, he's going to, I think, if he can, try to do the opposite of what the guy just did, where he's going to use the tonfas to kind of hook underneath his armpits, and then try to just full body slam the guy over him. Hopefully that'll knock him out.
Alright. So this is going to be a takedown strike, basically. So I'll say this is prowess, martial arts. However, I'm going to say this is at a -2. Because
That's
this is
fair.
an attempt to end the fight.
He is quite hard. He's quite heavy.
Oh, yeah.
That is a 10.
10. You know, I'm going to say that this is enough. As you come out at him, full focus on taking this man down, you manage to land a couple of strikes to his chest, to his knees, just aiming for weak positions that'll cause him to basically collapse out of stress and tiredness.
Hell
Just a
yeah.
complete overwhelming. With that, he does try to land a few strikes on you, managing to like knock you in the shoulder at one point. However, in the end, it's one final strike as you sweep around with the Tonfers and bring both of them down upon like the back of his head. As you manage to conquer the giant and knock him down to the ground.
It's not over yet! So Bruce is gonna break for the counterattack that he knows is coming. He did not have time to prepare for it, so he's got to just weather whatever blow she's got planned for him.
Alright. It is in this brief moment as you're kind of looking around. Silence. Keep looking around and you don't see anything. Looking up into the rafters and you don't see anything. It's a few moments of silence. Nothing.
I think Bruce is going to try to play risky here, and he's actually going to close his eyes and really try to focus his hearing.
Alright. This would be awareness. Yeah, just awareness.
7. That's about as average as I could have gotten, but I have high awareness. Not exceptional awareness though.
Yeah. As you do close your eyes and try and focus, there is a moment where you hear a footstep from above you, and you hear it coming from one direction. So you quickly turn around to face it, and you don't see anything. And suddenly you feel something cold against your neck, as you feel a blade is being pushed up against your throat from behind you. With that, you feel an arm wrap around you as she leans in to whisper into your ear. You would be dead now.
Ooh. What are the odds of me doing any reversal on this?
You can try to.
Yeah, she's hesitated, which leads me to believe that the fight is over. She's got a good point. I think Bruce, I don't know if they'd, I don't know if Bruce thinks that they would accept him surrendering here, or if that would be failing on its own.
It's a good question. What does Bruce do?
I think Bruce is gonna try to throw her with wrestling.
All right.
I think he's like, if I know what he's gonna do. Yeah, he's gonna throw her. I'm gonna spend another determination point.
All right. So this would be prowess and wrestling.
Oh, this chick is going down. Like, that could have been better. That was the second lowest I could have gotten with that roll, and it's still a 13.
Still damn high.
It's still very high.
I think it's with that you just managed to get a quick reaction while she's not expecting it. Grabbing her arm, pushing the blade away from your throat, grabbing her shoulder and managing to throw her over yours. You see her quickly across the ground as she looks up with rage in her eyes. And you see in a brief moment as she takes the blade she's holding and she goes and she basically chucks it at you, throwing it with deadly precision.
I want to catch it.
Well, I will say, before you do, you see it fly towards you, and it's like at a dead second before it's about to strike you in between the eyes, before you see the old man, Sensei, just grab it out of the air. And with that, he goes, "That's enough. You did well, young man." And with that, you hear the woman go, "He cheated. He was dead." And with that, the old man turns around and go, "It is not over until one is dead. You did not kill him." Thus, he continued the fight. "A true warrior does not fight fair." With that, he turns to the woman and goes, "Go back inside. Return to your chambers and meditate upon this lesson." With that, in an angry huff, she kind of bangs her fist against the ground, or gets up, turns around, and leaves. That sensei turns to you, holding the knife still, as he brings it down to his side. "You have proven yourself someone who is willing to do what is necessary to win. You use your surroundings, your strengths against their weaknesses. Perhaps you will be worthy to join the shadows."
Bruce bows, I think. He just bows and he goes, "Thank you, Sensei."
"But now you are one of us. But do not think your lessons will be any easier than this."
If they were, then there wouldn't be much point.
And I welcome you to the shadows, Bruce.
Yeah. I think there's a moment of like probably like, you know, drums doo-doo as his eyes kind of widen a little bit. Was not expecting that.
With that, Sensei turns to another warrior, a monk. This one dressed in what looks to be a dark green. "Show our newest student to his room. There he will need to be set up and ready for tomorrow." With that, the one in green goes, "Yes, Sensei." With that, he walks up and he goes, "Come on, newbie. Let me show you the way you're going to be staying."
And Bruce follows. He does not talk unless like it's something that really interests him. He is here for a purpose.
With that, returning to your senses as Lincoln leads you out of the building. He wishes you well, with a smile on his face, and says, "I'm sure we're going to do great things together."
Of course. Thank you, Lincoln, for taking the time to make sure I felt welcomed.
It's my pleasure, Bruce. And any time you need someone to talk to, just give me a call.
Sure. I'll take you up on that.
Great to hear. With that, Lincoln turns around as one of the security officers goes, "Mr. Wayne, I'm here to help you get back to your car."
Oh, that's all right. I think I could actually use the walk.
All right then. Have a good day.
Thank you. And Bruce will walk, through the building a little bit. He'll also make his way towards the penthouse. Just kind of accidentally, oops, I ended up here. I must have gotten lost.
Whoops.
Whoops.
All right then. I think with that, as you would kind of make your way around, heading up to the penthouse, you would find that it is heavily guarded. There are a number of Wayne security guards in the area and at the door.
That's strange. Bruce kind
There's
of...
also look to be some construction workers going in and out of the room.
That's very strange. We're still during the day shift, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, then I think Bruce will, I think... Here's what I think I want Bruce to do. I'd like Bruce to, if he can, bump into one of the security guards and take his ID.
Alright. This will be a coordination sleight of hand.
Oh, I do have sleight of hand. Hell yeah.
Yep.
A 9 is still pretty high, but like...
Yeah.
It's,
I think a 9 is enough. These guys aren't like... I mean, these guys are professionals, but they're not specialty.
They're also not looking for Bruce Wayne to rob them.
Yeah, exactly. We bump into one and goes, "Hey, what's your... Oh, my apologies, Mr. Wayne."
Sorry. Hey, do you know how to get down to the garage from here? I thought I knew where I was going, but I guess I'm a little bit more lost than I thought.
Oh, yeah, no problem. It's just in the elevator.
Oh. Is it the one with the G or the one that says 1? I always get confused with that.
No, I understand that. No, G is ground level. You're looking for B1.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day, boys.
No problem. You too.
And, he makes his way to the elevator. I am ready to go get Alfred now.
All right. As you make your way down to where Alfred is waiting for you at a agreed upon location. I imagine it's kind of out of the way, so you're not swabbed by the media. And you see kind of Alfred standing outside the car as he sees you, smile appearing on his face once again. Well, how was your meeting, Bruce? Or Master Bruce, he would say, of course.
It was fine. The place is a mess. I can't imagine why they've taken it in the direction they have. They're making weapons, Alfred.
That there is definitely concern that appears on his face. Certainly a surprise for sure. Not a good one.
No, not a good one. Lincoln March is going to be sending over some documents soon. I am going to go over them. They want me to be in charge of the Wayne Foundation, but given that there hasn't been a chairman of the Wayne Foundation for what seems to be a couple of years, I imagine it's underfunded and underutilized, so probably just a token.
I see. Well, if there's anyone that could make something of it, I'm sure you can, Master Bruce.
My mother fought hard for that. I would hate to see it in ruins.
Indeed. Seems you are most likely going to fight harder.
I'll have to.
It's certainly good to hear.
Is there still a flower shop outside of Grant Park?
Yes, a very nice one, as I recall it. Would you like to stop there next?
Yes, please.
Of course.
Thanks, Al. And he gets into the back seat of the car.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of goes over the ID card that he pocketed. He'll need to come back soon, probably before it's deactivated, but I think it'll probably... I mean, if it goes for a night or two, he can just take another one. It's not that big a deal, so...
Yeah. Probably got a little bit before someone notices.
Mm-hmm.
As well, whether or not they're actually willing to bring it up, because it's kind of embarrassing. But yes, you make your way over to Grant Park. As you are driven over there, the small flower shop.
When he gets there, he goes in and buys a bouquet of a dozen red roses, wraps them up very carefully, and asks Alfred to drive him to the Monarch Theater.
Alfred nods. With that, you are driven over to the theater. Specifically to what is an alleyway near it. Alfred just goes, looking up in the rearview mirror over to you as he goes. Take as much time as you need. I'll be waiting here.
Thank you, Alfred. I won't be long.
Very well.
He starts to retrace his steps. He follows the route that was taken and crosses into the alleyway and stops right at the spot.
Although your memory of the night is crystal clear, the street itself has changed slightly. More graffiti, more run down. Everything just looks older, more decrepit. The theater itself no longer operational. Thus, not much of a reason for anyone to really come through here. Not that anyone would. Many claim this place is haunted. There's something dark that lingers in this area. As you stand here in the perfect silence, recalling the most painful night of your life.
Bruce kneels down and lays down the flowers. I promise. On my life, I promise.
Almost like a prayer, yet different. An oath, something to be sworn, a promise. You can feel almost like the darkness of the alleyway grows, almost as if it was reacting to your words. Though it is hard to tell whether it is in favor or attempting to scare you off. Maybe both, maybe neither. But it is quiet, deadly quiet. Until suddenly, there is an explosion. A sound that rocks the city. Suddenly, sound and noise has returned, as you see what looks to be a large fireball off in the distance.